Greetings, Mind Crafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion on this glorious day, surrounded by ferns. I think previously fiddleheads. I mean, it's all still ferns, but little fiddlehead things are gone now because they've all done. They did like this. Anyway, my name is Kimberly Quinn, and little Giovanni's here somewhere. There he is, and we are here to be your host and hostess with the most and mostest. And we've been talking a lot about, really finding your own purpose and pursuing those desires, those heartfelt desires, because after all, that is why we're on this planet, right? To learn how to love ourselves and each other better. But we can't give, we cannot give what we do not have. So with this whole, forward track, living your best life thing, right? We cannot do that without knowing our own value. We have to know our own value. It doesn't mean like you're done, but we have to be on the track with, that practice of worthiness. Just like anything else, what we practice, we get better at, right? So the knowing our own value, as far as this authentic path, fulfilling all those desires, living our best lives, we got to know our value, right? And then we also talked about, feeling gratitude for the breadcrumbs all the way along. Any kind of like small little movements forward, little things happen, even a phone call, whatever, small. Thank you. Put out to the universe. Thank you, God, source, creator of all things, higher power, however you call it. But being aware of that divine connection and being grateful forever. This is actually a really good metaphor because I'm on the wide hiking trail right now. And there's G. So picture like little breadcrumbs along the way, leading right up there past that little, top of the hill is the high meadow, where there's a phenomenal view of Jay Peak. It's just like really absolutely gorgeous, and there's an orchard back there too. So picture that's like where we're headed. Well, actually it is where I'm headed. And all the breadcrumbs, being grateful for those, grateful. And the other thing that's super huge and important, it doesn't mean like, that we do this and then we're done. We're never really done. It's all a path, just like this one, and going forward. But here's what I want to talk today about, which is create the space. It's just like anything else. And currently my computer is a really good example because I think it needs a priest and holy water. It's just like going slowly, and it's just because I have so much stuff in there. Video takes up a lot of space and things like that. But the computer, not mine necessarily, because it's about videos and stuff. Well, it's like when computer starts to get slow, right? And it was just cleaned out, actually. We got to make the space. So it is a good example. All right, retract. Because we got to make the space. I had a lot of I took it to the help desk and they cleared out a lot of stuff, and then it worked better, like because it was faster, because they cleared out a lot of, crap. I don't know, cookies and maybe some, I don't know, stuff that slowed it down was in there. So that is actually a good example, because we've got to create the space, or we get clogged up just like a computer, and then little circle spins around, and we're waiting, and it's just moving slowly. So all these things we want to do with our lives. This gift of life we got on this beautiful planet, we've got to create the space by letting stuff go, just letting it go. We can just kind of, so it's anything that's negative limiting beliefs in the unconscious. It's holding on to somebody did something to you or you did something to them, and it's all over for, weeks and months and years, maybe even decades. Just letting it go, because there's nothing heavier than a resentment. Gee, I think she sees something, maybe not. I think of barbells when I think of resentments, like the big freestanding ones are just big and heavy. And it's just, as Wayne Dyer says, there are no justified resentments. Just gotta let that stuff go. And I think, and you did something to somebody, and there's guilt and shame. All those negative emotions are the biggest. Think of them like the computer cloggers. They're in our hard drive, and they're slowing us down big time. And I think a lot of people get tripped up when it comes to letting stuff go, because they think that forgiveness means that you give somebody a pass, and it absolutely does not. Or sometimes people have to wait for an apology. That's also not going to work if the person's dead. The person the wrongdoer, perpetrator, whatever, even if it's something huge on the scale of huge, we all know what that means, right? All kinds of assaults and abuse and things like that. It doesn't mean any of it's okay. It just means that we don't have any use for it anymore. right? So when we let stuff go, it opens up that space where we can operate at maximum capacity. So the little circle's not going like this. It's just like, bing, there it is. Your heart's desire. There's a green light. Somebody just called you, and there's that job opening, or there's a lead to the job opening, or like right now the real estate's pretty locked up. Who knew? There's an old couple wants to get rid of the house, but they want to like who buys it, and now like there's your in, that sort of thing. Well, that stuff isn't going to happen if you're all clogged up and moving slowly. So, one of my friends, some people just don't like the word forgiveness, and that doesn't matter either. It's just a word, right? Letting it go, release, say anything you want to say. But one of my favorite definitions ever for forgiveness or letting it go or releasing or however you want to say it came from Claudia Black way back in the 80s when I was at St. Mike's, and she came to visit St. Mike's, and she was the pioneer, one of them, but in my world she was like top, but pioneer for the ACOA, or the Adult Children of Alcoholics movement, way back when. And she's no bigger than a minute and a little spicy powerhouse. She's amazing. And she was like kind of walking back and forth with an auditorium filled, standing room only filled, with adult children of alcoholics, all just listening to her every word. And she's talking about this, how people get so stuck. They get really super stuck with creating their space because the main reason, there's a bunch of reasons. They're waiting for an apology, waiting for the heavens to part. I don't feel ready to forgive. You're not going to feel ready. You just have to choose it. We'll get to that in a second. But the biggest reason, number one reason is that it gives that person a pass, and it doesn't. Again, they could be dead. They could be, whatever. They could be in prison. They could be just don't care. They're walking around on this earth someplace and don't care. Meanwhile, it's affecting you, not them. They're having the time of their life, maybe. And so here's what she said to kind of bust through that old cliche of to forgive means to forget, or forgiveness is forgetting, and that you're not really forgiving unless you repair the relationship. That's all crap. Some relationships, example, child molester with a 5-year-old, not a good thing to heal that, really, right? It's just, that's heal you, yes, right? But some relationships aren't meant to be resurrected, and I would say many, 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 many are, but you'll know that, right? And some just aren't, because sometimes people are just toxic. It's not the same as making a mistake, which we all do. We are all imperfect, and it's important to embrace our imperfections and their imperfections and all that stuff. There's a difference between that and turpentine people. There's a huge difference. Thankfully, most people are not there, right? But those people just need to be released. All right, so anyway, okay, she said, little tiny Claudia Black said, forgiveness does not mean forgetting, right? Not only so forgiveness does not mean we need to forget. Forgiveness is about remembering and choosing to move forward. Choosing to move forward. That means I get to decide. So we take our control back from said person who assaulted us, or there's obviously a range of things we can do. We can say something, somebody told a lie about you in 3rd grade, all the way up to assault, right? There's a whole range. So when we realize we can choose to forgive somebody, especially somebody who is really felt violated in whatever way, verbally, physically, sexually, emotionally, all of it, right? Then it's a really fabulous, wonderfully empowering feeling to realize that we can choose to forgive and change the word, choose to release, choose to let go, and choose to move on and get our power back, because we want to be in our power place. And I think what many people don't realize is that we hang on to stuff. It's an illusion. It's an illusion that feels like power. People love hanging on to anger, or they think they love it. Because it's really an ego fix, right? Ego is the evil twin of the authentic self. The authentic self has no use for hanging on to anything, especially not anger. And when we realize that is an illusion, it's actually giving our power away on a silver platter, then it gets easier to let it go. Hey, no, wrongdoer, perpetrator, violator person, this gift of life is mine. You've taken enough from me whenever it was, and I'm taking my power back. You're not taking anything from me again. I'm creating space. I'm creating this wide open space so I can allow that loving partner in, open the door for kids, open the door for travel, open the door to a new home, open the door to pursue my passion project, open the door to start a business, open the door to be free to be me. to be free to be me and just be happy, because you're not in my rib cage, you're not in my frame. I use that a lot. I'm only in my frame, basking in my authenticity and love and self-love and kindness and self-compassion. There's no room for you in my frame of authenticity, so be gone. Spit them out. So we really got to create that space by getting rid of all things negative: resentment, guilt, shame, regret, all this stuff. And here's the other thing, is we don't have to necessarily name those one by one. We don't have to, dig deeply and like reside there. That's actually not good, because then it just brings whatever memories we bring to the, up to the surface, are going to have the attached emotions. We don't really want that either. It is very okay to just let it all go. Just decide, let it all go. Because another mistake, we talked about that a few minutes ago, is that people sometimes, like, oh, I'm not ready. Like they're waiting to let stuff go. Well, meanwhile, your life minutes are going by. And obviously there are exceptions to that. If somebody was assaulted last night, they may not be, ready today. But we do want to feel is to heal, talk and do all the things you need to do to heal your mind and body, and then make a choice. Because it's not like the forgiveness fairy just, the clouds open and the forgiveness fairy comes down and sprinkles, forgiveness dust on everybody. That's not are you. I think I hear the caretaker, maybe. That was distracting. Okay, he's so nice. He's such a lovely, lovely older gentleman. I haven't seen him in ages. It's glad to have him back, actually. So that's really it. We got to create the space. Remember, heart's desires, forward trajectory. We're on this path of meaning and purpose, living our best authentic life. And to do that, we have to know our value. We have to practice our worthiness. It's in there. We just have to, kind of dust it all off and practice it, rehearse feeling worthy. And while also feeling tremendous gratitude for the breadcrumbs along the trail, right? And creating the space, because just as we're letting stuff go, obviously life is continuing to move on. So there might be a new thing that we need to let go. So the thing is, we're never really done. We're not done. We just keep moving forward. So we're kind of doing these things sort of like always, like, and I don't use those words very often. I'm not a fan of polarized words. When we're talking about our life path, we are walking balls of energy. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And because we are around, forever, and energy doesn't get destroyed, in this particular context, it's okay to use polarized words, because we will always be alive. And it's just going to always go forward. And so we need to continue to do these things, all sort of the gratitude, the mindfulness, the gratitude, and the letting go, sort of consistently. And this is the way to live our best life and sort of reach this lovely consciousness state of flow and fulfillment, which is miles above happiness. Happiness is certainly good, but fulfillment is the sauce on this Sunday. Okay, this is Kimberly Quinn with Little Giovanni, signing off from the Notch at Northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.